Welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena, and tonight you're joining us for PEC Valorant. We're in the debut week of the PEC Power Esports Conference, and Boise State is facing off against Syracuse all week. They have faced them in Rocket League and Overwatch so far, and both of those have resulted in a Bronco win. So now we'll see if the Valorant squad in their debut can bring it on home and make it a victory trifecta for the week. I'm your host, Jacob Homer. I am joined by Nathaniel Hackney here in the studio, here to set up all of the action for you before we head down to our two talented casters in the arena. Now, Nathaniel, this is a debut for Boise State Esports Valorant. Anything that we know about the Valorant team is a lot of their favorite stuff is old tried and true. You know, stages like Bind are things they really thrive on as well. So if we're going to ask the question, ever since we saw the Broncos, a lot of new stuff has been added. We've got Abyss, we've got Vise. What do you think the Broncos' path to victory, where does it lie, do you think? Does it lie more in the old or the new?
I think it definitely depends on the map that's chosen. On these older stages, the older agents just seem to work better. On like Bind, for example, Omen, Viper, Sky, Breach, like these, Jet too, they're all just agents that really just work on the older maps. And on the newer ones, like Sunset, we're beginning to see like Gecko and Astra be viable. So it really just depends on the stage they pick, and I just wonder how that's going to impact the game.
Well, I do know for sure that Gecko, as one of the newer agents, is an agent Boise State loves to play, so they have done well on Sunset as well. Speaking of the Broncos, however, let's take a look at the opening lineup. We've got Ian Perfect, Rariana, Skies, Prestige, Skelesis, and then we've got Wyatt Morrison and Marshall Hamer as Master and Daimyo, respectively. Also making a debut, we've got Coach K, a new coaching member, assistant coach for Boise State Esports, who's really focused on taking the Valorant squad under her wing. And I asked Coach K before the match started today about some key things that they're trying to focus in on. And I want you to bring to light on how important these things are when you're playing Valorant. One of them was if you have the control, if you have a person advantage off of a few early picks, trying to not rush the rest of the round. How important is that? How does that play out?
I would say that's extremely important. A lot of the time, it's easy to get like an early pick with an op or something, and then just throw it away because you're willing to just run in and overheat and look for more. Because it's always fun to try and just get 2 or 3, but ultimately, if you're playing to win, getting 1, and then if you're on defense, just hunkering down, you'll win off the clock eventually.
Well, let's take a look at the picks and bans on the stages that they can hopefully apply these things that they've been drilling down over the past few weeks. And if you're a Boise State fan, you have reason to be happy because Bind and Sunset make it through the picks and bans with Ascent finishing it off. So there we go. That's 2 of Boise State's best stages right off the bat to start out this best of 3. I don't know if you could have wished for anything better for Boise State.
I mean, you can't really wish for something better than that. We heard that Gecko's really good for Boise State. They like to play it. Sunset's obviously a Gecko map. Then we also have Bind, which is a classic, Ascent, another classic, and Boise State's been known to perform on these classic maps, so it's looking like a great lineup.
What's so amazing for me is that Syracuse was the one that picked Bind, and I know Bind is Boise State's favorite stage, so Syracuse, they better have the skill to back up that pick, because that's gutsy. Just picking off Boise State's favorite stage like that. One of the other goals that Coach K set was regrouping after losses. Obviously, not every round can go your way, and that's not all the keys to the game we have. In Valorant, that's going to be to chat your strats for every round, stay off the copium, take out your 1, and check your angles, please. And I think kind of stay off the copium also kind of fits into what Coach K was saying of regrouping after every loss. Tell me how that works out. How do you regroup after a tough loss, a close round that just didn't go off your way?
Well, let's just say like it's a 4v1. You already have the bomb down. All you have to do is just finish off this last guy, and somehow by like a miraculous divine work, you're unable to win the round. It's really easy to get frustrated there and just like let that get to you. But you just have to look at that, learn from the mistakes, and realize hey, maybe we should play together more, maybe we should trade off each other. It's just stuff like that.
And then the final note is a very simple one, which is focus on sticking to the game plan. Kind of what, Doc said with taking out your ones. You've got your assignment. Now you need to follow through with it. Let's not try to shake things up or rock the boat too much because one wild idea pops into your head.
And this is especially like a thing with sticking to the game plan is sometimes you make an assumption like, hey, this Rays always swings shower, let's punish them. And then they just don't swing shower. Mm-hmm. And the whole game plan is just in shambles, and you're trying to think about what was our plan B? Like, how should we regroup on this? And it's really easy to just spiral out of control. So staying to that game plan just really helps out.
Now, if we're to make any predictions for what we can see in Bind, I know for sure if we are on Bind with Boise State, of course we're going to see the Rays. That's just a general that we see on Bind, but I know Boise State loves to bring out the Gecko on Bind as well as Sunset. So I think if you're a Gecko fan, you're going to be fed pretty well today because Boise State has definitely made that the agent of their choice. If there's anyone else you can recommend Boise State should bring out on Bind, what are you choosing?
There's obviously the Brimstone pick. His ultimate is extremely valuable on Bind. It can clear out all of U-Haul. It can clear out all of Backside. I can't speak enough about how good a good Brimstone ult is. It can decide an entire round. And then another one would be Viper. Double controller is fairly okay on Bind. Some maps you don't want to run it, but I think Bind is one of those. There's some interesting walls you can throw through the teleporter, and they get like just a bunch of value.
And one other thing that I just want to mention is that one other thing that one of our casters was mentioning, Audrey, before it started, is I know we have kind of a Yoru connoisseur among our staff, and Bind is one of those stages that we can kind of see him on. He has gotten better as time has gone on.
Yes, Yoru. Bind has a lot of these weird like angles where there's just a hole in the ceiling, and Yoru can chuck a flash straight up into the ceiling, and it just blinds the entire enemy team.
Well, that's all for us here on Desk. We can speculate as much as we want, but the only thing that matters at the end of the day is the gameplay and the actual results. So let's head it off to the arena where our casters Audrey and Zach are ready to pick up the action. Take it away, you two.
All right, we're excited to be getting into the action, especially the pick of the agents. I appreciate the mention of Yoru. I've been getting back into Valorant, looking at the meta. When I was playing, Yoru was horrible. You just couldn't play him. He was impossible to use effectively, and so I've heard he's been getting some use, especially on certain maps, as we mentioned with the blind, so I'm excited to see that. Are there any agents that you're excited to see come out with the maps potential that we have seen?
I would love to see the Yoru, of course. I think Yoru is very entertaining to watch, but sadly, the meta, especially the higher level you go, it can kind of get more set in stone. The Rays has been a very stapley pick on Bind for a very long time now, and I would be surprised because it's either most of the time the Duelist, the stuff that their kit offers, it's sort of you only really want one or two, so teams aren't super fast to maybe use Yoru and trade out for a different character.
Yeah, Yoru, he is a fun one. I think that there's a lot of fun characters, but Raze has just been one of those characters that since they've been in the game, they've been consistent, they've been strong, and they've had a lot of effective abilities. I mean, from being able to use their blast packs to move around, to just Boombot being a great way to scout out and catch someone off awares. They have a lot of just effective abilities, but we'll have to see where we're going in with that as we see Boise State and Syracuse making their picks. We can see already some lock-ins and some decisions with Syracuse already fully picking their team.
I love to see the deadlock pick here out of Boise State's Rihanna. I'm a deadlock advocate on this team, or on this map especially. The hookah drop is almost impossible into the sound sensors, and I'm really excited to see how Boise State utilizes deadlock with their set plays.
Yeah, with both teams locked in, we're going to be jumping into the match. We'll see how both of these teams stack up against each other. Boise State has been working together all summer to get ready to go, and Syracuse has been kind of building their lineup. We've seen that they actually had a couple new players added to their team, so we'll have to see how all of these teams work on their communication with these characters and get ready to duke it out.
Jumping in, especially at the beginning of the season, the first couple games, these first few rounds are going to be very important for the overall vibes and the whole mentality of the team going forward. Winning a good pistol and maybe even a bonus after that, that can definitely kind of snowball things forward. And I think it's going to be very important to see how these teams are able to set up.
Yeah, we can see they're both preparing. We've got Boise State pushing mostly on left side, looking towards B, with Syracuse also doing the same thing, both teams leaving a singular agent on the other side. I think it's interesting that they're mirroring behaviors already.
Yeah, these fights, they can tend to favor the defense here, as an early fight's going to kind of be blocked off by the Viper Orb, but it looks like Syracuse ready to stack up and take a fight. Boise State playing anti-flash, also ready for the potential of a lot of players in the smoke to push out. T0 catches Skies, but Skelis easy to trade it back, but T0 gets another. Asher continue, that's the spike down.
Oh, with spike down, that's going to be a very dangerous position for Boise State if they can't recover it. We can see Syracuse holding position on spike. They don't want to let it go because that would be a problem. We can see Sky trying to do some scouting here. They can see a smoke up, keeping protection, visibility.
Look at the flank. Very interesting flank here from Ruriana, who's able to make it all the way through. Hookah might catch pretty much everybody here, completely turned away, but Prestige actually wants to take the fight first. Pred's actually able to get both, but Ruriana's flank, it came down to the last man there. I really like that setup out of Syracuse on the first round.
Yeah, that was a good setup, and unfortunately for Boise State, losing the spike there just gave them a great opening to move and set up, and with most of Boise State's teammates, I mean, being on the other side, they had tons of time to set up there and get a nice little ambush started.
Yeah, although that was a win from Syracuse, I think it definitely could have gone both ways. Boise State had a great response to that early aggression out of long, and the flank through Hookah, Ririana's flank, it definitely could have been rewarded a little bit more. So I wouldn't say that that's necessarily too bad playbook-wise, but it's definitely going to be a little painful.
Yeah, Boise State having to save on this round. They're looking for a new strategy, moving towards A. We see Brimstone holding on the hallway area by B, with the rest of the team pushing up. They've left Spike in the back, doing some scouting.
This is the typical bind default that has been going on for years now. You need to sort of get util out because it's very difficult to push a site with full defender util. Sky's early fight actually coming out a bit healthier than T0 on that one. Interesting Sheriff shots. The Sheriff purchase after losing the pistol round might end up good. Paint Shell is still in the pocket, as it looks like Boise State are sort of grouping up for the A hit here, as Prestige creeping up. Showers, Ririana really far forward, actually going to maybe take a final T0. Right clicks hitting. That's a gun one over.
Always good when you can gain the advantage of a weapon. You can see them pushing up, taking out the opposing Brimstone, holding on Portal. They're moving to B for the plant.
Great teleport, but look at Prestige too. Although I think that the Sky Trailblazer might have noted him. He's going to go regroup with his team. A 3v5, not where Syracuse would really want to be on a round that, by all metrics, should be theirs.
Setting up around B. With a full team on Boise State side, they have a great setup here. We can see Syracuse coming around the back to B. Boise State holding back here, taking out the Viper. Great for them, preventing any dangerous smokes on that side.
A thrifty flawless coming out from Boise State. Absolutely not really what you'd want to see as a Syracuse fan, as normally the second round after winning pistol should be even easier than the first. By all metrics, it should be a free win.
Yeah, it's considered typically a guarantee, but that gives great room, we can see, for Boise State now. Now that they saved one round, won the next one, their economy's looking great. They're able to stock up. They've got some nice loadouts going for this next match. And I do find it really interesting now that we get to see that we've really pushed hard left, really pushed hard right. Now we're spreading out a little bit to see where we're going.
Syracuse looking to kind of run back that pistol round strategy with early aggression out A, but it's going to be punished by Ririana. Good wait, good patience there. Maybe expecting that they might get up to some antics on this lower buy, and Master also seems aware. Yeah, he's able to trade out, and Ririana perfect on the team play there. That's all the B players taking. Syracuse gonna rotate, but it might be a little bit late, as it also looks like Skies has crept up deep into elbow. Ririana takes an early fight. It's a little bit labored, but he's gonna catch it, and Skies around the corner seals the deal.
With that, they'll plant to get the extra point for ults. and take the next round.
These plays have definitely been interesting for Syracuse. Their early aggression, although it was rewarded the first round, it seems like Boise State adapted very quickly and were sort of ready for that to happen.
Yeah, we can see grouping up a little bit more. Actually staying pretty similar to the last one for Boise State. Spreading out, Syracuse not pushing up as far as they did in the previous round, looking to set up a little bit more on their plant spots, which, considering how the last rounds have kind of gone for them, where they've gotten all pulled out and then taken out, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, these tempo changes are definitely a really good sign of a team that's willing to adapt, and so far both these teams are looking pretty spry. So I like that Syracuse is willing to change up their defensive hold when things don't work, as now they're playing a pretty far back sort of hold on the B site, and they're ready for the walk up, but there's 4 towards Prestige deep in spawn. The rest of Boise State might wait, and this is looking to be a pretty solid B hit with no real information on the side of Syracuse. The execute is looking to be coming in now. Both players in elbow, sort of isolated, not really going to be able to get a good look at this. Wingman gets the bomb down, and Ririana is able to set up the utility that Deadlock is so known for on these retakes. Flank is watched, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, Boise State sitting, waiting there, able to get, a plant through without either opposing team losing. Unfortunately for them, Rays gets taken out. Ooh, good plays from the Viper by Syracuse, 2 before they get taken out. They're pushing on to B, they're looking to defuse that spike. Boise State gets pushed off with only 2 members of the team left. Sky and Brimstone looking for their opportunity, jumping through the smoke. They have to try and get it, but Sky gets taken out, Brimstone out, and Syracuse is able to take that one.
Good retake protocol. I was a little skeptical at first seeing the Syracuse players so willing to give up the site, but with the amount of utility that Boise State used, they didn't really have too much left for the flood retake of Syracuse, and now the Vipers pit's online.
And that'll be great for any retakes that they have to do, or if they manage to get a really, really nice start and just prevent any pushes later on.
Yes, this is definitely, it actually looks like Syracuse now, now that they've been rewarded for their game plan, it seems like they're staying with a similar thing. The stack towards A with the Sky and the Viper on B site, and Boise State is sticking to their same sort of default, but a little bit more hookah presence than before, and Vipers put actually early committed onto long.
Oh, we can see Boise State shifting over, rotating to B very quickly on this one, with all the Syracuse players starting to move down A. Boise State taking a slow start here, trying to bait out the Viper.
Thrash coming in, gonna clear out hookah and sort of pretty much the entire B site. Syracuse now gonna have to come over to help.
Oh.
Skies head first into the Viper's pit. Pretz, however, takes down Ririana, but Skies takes out the Sky. Viper's pit's still up, but it's sort of been ignored. It's been bypassed, as Long is definitely, it's not under the control of Boise State, but they're willing to take everything. They're going for a fight down here. Skelesis, Owen actually getting both, but Master trades one back. T0 gonna try and get a little bit more, as their own Thrash is invested. Brimstone caught. Prestige trying to save him. T0 is actually gonna be able to close it out by himself. That was a very interesting round.
Yeah, with Viper taking the defuse. Never
Orbs
mind,
being
Gecko.
optimized.
Always good when you get the opportunity to optimize, especially if someone's closer to an ultimate than you are, with the Viper just using their ult.
Yeah, that was really interesting how the Viper's pit, it sort of got ignored. And
Yeah.
But it ended up, the Viper was still sort of taken out of the round, though. That was all on T0 and Hayabusa.
Yeah, I appreciate Skies just looking at the Viper's pit, went, nah, I'm going straight in, jumped in, took it out with everyone else going, all right, we're just going to work over here. Unfortunately, that Viper's pit was just not quite where it needed to be to do anything, because Boise State did choose to go through the alternate route.
The pinch from Ririana was in long, but it was just sadly noted. As it looks like an early fight's going to be taken. Skies gets killed by Owen, though. T0 with the AWP taken down, and double net, that's the deadlock. The deadlock value coming in, and Boise State going to plant quick, but they're unaware of this Brimstone lurking in U-Haul. He's going to take a fight, and he gets one with the Judge, actually. It's now a 3v3 retake, but U-Haul is a pretty scary area to venture into if you're a Boise State player. Double peek coming out from Hayabusa. Not going to be rewarded. The smoke's in, but now Master's low. Has to be healed up by Prestige, but he actually gets 2 while being healed. Asher trades it back, but Skelesis has a good wrap. It has been noted by the Syracuse players, but a lot here to do in the 1v2.
Yeah.
Good positions. Prestige not willing to give anything over quite yet.
Asher looking for their opportunities, pre-firing. Unfortunately, moves a little bit to the side, giving the opportunity for Boise State Sky to pop out, taking the round, bringing it 3-3. Boise State and Syracuse.
That deadlock that I was talking about is really showing its value here. Double net pretty much led to both kills, and an op was actually invested in Operator on T0, and that now being out of his hands is a big blow to the economy of Syracuse.
Now we're seeing everyone's setting up. Economy overall very similar with the trades back and forth on rounds right now. You can see both teams investing. Syracuse investing a little bit less in shields, so that'll be interesting.
Bit of a pace change. Pace change towards long. It's going to be completely cleared, and Syracuse again looking to be completely willing to play this retake onto the B site. They're gonna let the showstopper come out, and it does. Dizzy also, wingman invested. That's a whole lot of util off the side of Boise State, and Syracuse is just saying, let it come here.
Slow push for Syracuse into B. Boise State just kind of staying in the front there.
Looking to be a post-plant setup for sure. Bomb is for Hookah and Long. However, it's smoked out. They're going to have to, the tap coming through. Looks like they want to stick it, but they're not able. Ririana gets 2 inside the smoke as Prestige collects another, and it's going to be a flawless round for Boise State. Good retake setup.
With that, Boise State is getting a bit of momentum, bringing it 4-3. I've liked how they've been slowly increasing the speed at which they play. They started very slow, and with this last round, Boise State was able to go in with a lot of speed, and because of the way that the intensity that they had had in previous rounds, when they pulled back, it was able to give them a good spot to just restructure and kind of catch Syracuse on their rotate.
Yeah.
So now Syracuse is going to have to think about how to deal with that, and also to try and predict where Boise State's going to go now. We see majority on A, Sky running back to B after attempting a blind on 2 Boise State players. See Master watching that very scary hallway.
After the orb's been collected and shower, it seems like Syracuse are cautious of the B site hit again, but this time it doesn't look like that's going to be the destination for Boise State, as the Trailblazer is now going to push Owen back off of his hold a little bit. And now the Brimstone's coming in. Orbital strike into U-Haul, clears out all of it. Showers is going to be the point of contention here. Syracuse really wants to hold this, but the orbital strike from Syracuse's side shuts down the plant. Thrash coming out, gonna try and clear out Showers. It's barely misses. Hayabusa gets one in the back too. Owen kills 2. Showers is still not cleared. This is a thorn in the side of Boise State, who just choose to run away.
Now they're going to reposition, rotate, and go over to B. Syracuse having one more player right now, especially all full health, are going to try and rotate with them. Boise State going for the spike plant. See if they can get their setup done in time to handle Syracuse's rotation over.
No ultimates on the board. This is going to come down to team play here, as the double walk-up elbow is interesting. Skies is going to have to be the one to peek this and shut down the wingman. 11 HP, it's scary. Skelesis knife out, gets caught. Owen cleans up the last, and that's a good round for Syracuse. This is sort of a ping pong match of sorts of how these rounds are going. Back and forth.
When we're early in the season, that's something that's not too surprising either. You see like everyone trying to get used to each other, and we can see throughout all of these rounds, we've been going back and forth with the strategies, updating slightly, changing strategies a little bit as we go to try and trick the opponent. And what we saw Boise State do, where they pulled back, contrary to their previous action, Syracuse did the same exact thing with how they moved in to push B and were able to take it. Now still 4-4, we haven't really had a breakaway yet.
Yep, not only are these rounds equal, but the players are all pretty even too, other than Ririana's 10-5. Most players are somewhat even. This is a close one. Ult coming in, not gonna actually hit anything, but all the space gained Rihanna taken low though, but Sky's gonna get a quick entry, but it was not without a cost. Boise State's health bar is looking low, but this is why you bring in the Sky for the heal. As off that quick little pick, it looks like they're willing to regroup and sort of try and play the map a little more.
Yeah, Boise State rotating a little bit more to the middle, taking their time to decide where they're gonna go. Sky gonna begin some scouting. Look out with Rays following behind, hungry for their next pick.
Hook has been cleared, or U-Haul has been cleared now, and Syracuse in an uncomfortable position, but the Thrash actually invested, although it's taken out by Skelesis, caught on the reload by Hayabusa. Prestige and Skies stuck in the cubby here, trying to get a little bit of action as Pret's late to the party, but he's here now. Prestige holding down his location. Sky v Sky battle goes the way of Asher, but Master's still alive with Rihanna in the back. They're gonna have to get on this bomb soon. Rihanna actually sneaking out, takes a great timing. I don't think he's been noted. Although Asher cleans up Master. Oh, Rihanna was actually noted. 1v2 going the way. And oh, Pretz barely manages to close it out. Rihanna low, but really made that one costly and close.
Rihanna got forced into having to push up towards defuse with the Viper being there. And so now 5-4 back in Syracuse's favor. And a bit more economy than Boise State going forward now.
I would say, I think Boise State, they're probably trying to get a good few attack rounds, but I do think, at least composition-wise, they should have an easier time on the defense, given that Syracuse is opting for no Sentinel, and Boise State has the deadlock, which is going to make site hits pretty difficult.
Yeah, as soon as they get into a defense position, some of those Sentinel abilities will be a lot more visible on Boise State side. Sitting in the Decay Orb, taking a bit of damage.
It's looking like the typical setup here out of Syracuse with the Sky and the Viper, Asher and Pretz. Solo holding this B site. They're going to really be tested here, as Asher actually, with the combination of the grav net and the paint shells, actually had to leave, making B site effectively one person shorter here, and Boise State regrouping, and it looks like they're willing to speed up on this B execute again.
Yeah, Boise State rotating over to B with just Viper holding it. You can see Syracuse is trying to decide whether or not it's worth it. Their Rays is going to try and move over, the rest of them rotating. Boise State moving in, setting up, and beginning the plant. We'll see which way that Syracuse decides to push from.
Gonna come down to this elbow fight again. Pretz is waiting in the smoke, and he might be able to get some, but he's noted. Actually catches two before he's traded out by Master, but Skelesis gets Owen quickly. Master taken down really low. All the Syracuse players are in elbow here with that deadlock wall, making it hard to get out. Master noted by the dog, but Skies has his back. And two last elbow. They're walking out a little bit here. Seems like Boise State are going to want to play the time here with the hookah player. Asher versus Skies. Skies takes it, and T0, wingman on the bomb, gets two. But Master not going to let that slide. That was a really close round. This game has actually been pretty intense so far.
Yeah, we've been seeing a very similar just back and forth between the teams. I mean, we do have some similar characters between the teams. I mean, we've got Sky Rays, Brimstone, and Gecko. So we're seeing a lot of similar play happening between the teams, with the only real differences being right now is Viper and Deadlock, which does shake up a lot of play.
Yeah, the deadlock, it kind of makes your team more oriented towards the defense rather than the attack, as Viper's normally used for sort of lurks. And actually, speaking of Vipers, the Viper on Syracuse gets sprayed through the orb quickly by Skelesis, and this is definitely not good if you're Syracuse here, and it looks like they're trying to pick it up a bit, Showers, and sort of try and get it back, but Boombot has noted Asher, who has to back up, and it's looking like another Boise State execute on the B site here.
Yeah, Boise State creating great space for them on B with that early loss of Viper for Syracuse. Boise State is able to prep here.
Actually, it looks like they're
taking a slower
Yeah, they're drawing the
approach.
rotates. It looks like they're drawing the rotates to maybe go for a TP, or maybe not actually. They're just committing the Thrash and the Trailblazer along with the Showstopper. They want this round. And Syracuse pushed all the way back into elbow. Rihanna wants to retrieve that Thrash detain. Big Showstopper. This is scary though, elbow. Nice spray through the wall by Skies. It's not looking great for Syracuse, especially with Thrash getting a kill like that. Paint shells. Looks like T0 is just willing to step in.
Yeah, 6-5 in Boise State's favor with a flawless now.
Last round in the
B
half.
has been very favored now at this point when it comes to points. We're getting our last round before the swap. We can see now where the econ is at, but with the swap, that's not going to do a lot for them going
last
forward.
round.
So
But
spend
also,
what you need to.
look at how close Syracuse is to each ultimate here. They're going to really want to play for these orbs. One off the Thrash, one off the Viper's Pit, two off the Orbital Strike. They're much closer than Boise State are, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try and take early Showers control to maybe get Thrash online, but it doesn't look like they're going for B long for the Viper's Pit.
Yeah, we can see Syracuse in the shower, definitely trying to get control of that, gaining the orb off of that. So far, we've got a standstill on B
net.
with some spray fire into Showers.
That nets it too. Rihanna looking to maybe get active off it. Showstopper popped. Trailblazer noted, jumping, trying to get the angle, and Rihanna actually manages to survive it, and it looks like Syracuse might as well. That was really strange looking, but Boise State got out the Showstopper for relatively no cost, so Skies has kind of crept up here on B, and it looks like they're willing to take a contact play out. Cubby and Elbow, nice kill from Skies, but it's traded by Pret. Skelesis also gets it back. B side is now open. Prestige can probably hear all these players running, might catch him out the TP, but he doesn't. The timing's bad, but he's gonna hear this though. Prestige gonna take the first fight. Owen's ready for him, and the Thrash from Syracuse coming in. Ririana TP's behind Owen from Syracuse. Double stack towards long. They're gonna have to clear this one out. The Brim smokes are in, and Skelesis looking to get out. Catches one and the other. Good shots from Skelesis.
Boise State is able to take the last round before swap, giving them, for the first
Switching
time,
sides.
a 2-round advantage, which is going to be very good going forward because we've been seeing a lot of back and forth. So if Boise State can continue the momentum into defense, which we've already noted a couple times that they have some really nice defense-oriented characters, we'll have to see how Syracuse is able to switch up their strategy to deal with that, especially now that they're going to be kind of relearning each other's strategies now that they're on the other side.
They're gonna want this pistol if you're Boise State, because 9-5 is much closer than 7-7. And especially with a defense-oriented comp. However, I would argue that Syracuse's comp is also decent for attack, and they might be going for a defaulty sort of playstyle, because normally what typically happens is, as you can see on the map, the Viper wall comes up A, and that sort of threatens the walk up into U-Haul at any moment.
And we can see Boise State taking.
Looking for a Showers play. It might be a grav net out of Showers onto Owen here, but he's just taken straight out of the round by Skies. No grav net needed. Good information and orbs. It looks like they're going to be trying to funnel the Raze orbs here.
Boise State moving back onto A. Syracuse fully pushing together with who's left.
Utilizing that wall.
Yeah, utilizing the wall to get themselves some space. We can see Skies going through the hallway, looking for an opportunity to pick. Gets the Gecko, throws out paint grenade. And see now the firefight begins, trades back and forth. Boise State coming out on top though, able to defuse the spike.
Yeah, it was a great push out of Boise State actually, and then they're going to be very happy with this pistol. Wukong watching, and I think that kill, Owen a little bit slow on the jiggle peek was caught and noted, but if you didn't notice, Ririana, he was ready, he was at the teleporter in long, and if there was a good presence there, he was going to throw the grav net, teleport, and hold the whole of Boise State was going to collapse, so they had a set play ready and everything. It didn't even need to be used, and the round was taken without it.
Boise State taking the pistol round, able to gain some greater momentum, putting 3 rounds between them and Syracuse. You can see the strategies are changing up a little bit. Syracuse more heavily starting on A. Boise State keeping a similar strategy with the 2 and 3 right now. Looking for those sight lines. Viper already closes it off. Sky pushing Trailblazer, gets the Gecko immediately. Great play from Skies, taking out an opponent as fast as they can is always going to be good. With the Rays already low on health, Boise State fully at health, you can see that's going to be rough, though they are letting them get the plant. Gecko is taken out by Brimstone. bringing the player count even, but Boise State still has the health advantage right now.
Each second ticking by makes it a little bit scarier for Boise State, although the weapon disadvantage might be a little bit too much. Ririana with an early Phantom is going to trade back on that brim, and it looks like they're going to try and get into U-Haul, but maybe not. They might just hold it. Prestige, diffusing Skies gets his third, and although Owen trades one back out, he's not much longer for this world as Master takes it out. A relatively uncostly bonus round for Boise State.
Yeah, with the diffuse going off, giving it to Rihanna. Boise State takes another round. You can see now that we've swapped to defenders, Boise State has been able to gain quite a bit of momentum.
If you haven't noticed, Skies already has the showstopper online on round 3, so I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out here. As they were funneling him early, you could see an early kill onto Owen on pistol as well as the orb, and 3 on the second round as well as the orb is going to put him just at enough for the showstopper very early. Can be a round-winning ultimate.
Yeah, Boise State will have to be careful though. Syracuse has been very balanced with their ults, so they're all going to come on similarly, and that could be some very nasty combos in the future.
Outlaw still
Spike Carrier
singing.
is down though.
And the paint shells catches a second one out of there. That Outlaw doing incredible damage since Syracuse bought up a little. A lot of them only have light shield, making that Outlaw a one-shot. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the showstopper invested. Here it comes, clearing out towards triple. Gonna catch Hayabusa, the third on the round for Skies, who gets himself a little upgrade. U-Haul noted. Paint shells perfectly on point. Wingman on the defuse. Owen swings out wide, manages to get Skies. Asher with another. This is now a little bit scary if you're Boise State. 2v2. Sky Flash noted. Ririana gets his first. Asher has to hold it down. Classic coming out and also going to get rewarded. That was a very good round to win if you're Boise State.
Boise State getting the defuse, really focusing on Deadlock, getting their ult right now.
That's the round you want to win. That's the round you want to win if you're Boise State, because third round, that was a full investment out of Syracuse, who have now been shut down, allowing Boise State to have a lot of money in their pockets and get the operator online on Skies, who, if you saw his Marshall, it's not entirely surprising that he's pulling it out now.
Yeah, Syracuse hurting for money, but their ultimates are looking pretty good. Boise State has 2 members very close to their ultimates. Same for Syracuse. Actually, a couple are closer. Boise State is likely to get their ults first, but we'll have to see if they'll be able to make use of them. Boise State moving over to B for this round. Syracuse kind of sticking with A. They're really trying to make it work right now.
It looks like it was good to stick it out here, as they're going to get rewarded with an entirely free site. Plant's going to come in quick, and it's going to be a 5v5 retake. And if you have the gun disadvantage, this is definitely what you want to see, because this kind of comes down to team play here. Paint Shell's not going to be fast enough to kill the Plant, but it might get some damage. Skies with the op. Gets one onto Asher. I think he knows someone might be behind there. Asher forced to swing, and he manages to take Skies early. Deadlock ult coming through. Skelesis early pick, but Owen gets another. Master with a double trade back. All the Syracuse players now towards U-Haul. It's a little bit scary, but Prestige and Ririana handle it well. Hayabusa last one. Ririana shuts it down. This is looking like a very clean defense half so far from Boise State, and now Syracuse is in an ugly position.
Yeah. Let's see, with the defuse from Masters, Boise State now 6 rounds ahead, and Syracuse is really hurting economy-wise right now. I mean, when you start losing multiple rounds in a row, it just doesn't allow you to gain that economy momentum. You can see they're trying to determine right now if it's better to try and buy up with their guns or stick with the pistols and try and save money to get better guns in the future, which looks like it's going to be their strategy. Boise State able to stick with some powerful guns, able to keep the op as well. Both teams have an ult on standby as we go into this next round.
Syracuse finally willing to change it up a little bit, but Skies is going to punish that change up. Thrash committed off the back of it, looking for someone, going to catch the Sky. Sky's going to try and get the paint shells onto him as the support comes through here. Sky's not able to land the second shot, but Skelosis is able to get 2, and he's looking for the third. But Pret's actually 2 big kills on the other side of the map, takes us down to a somewhat winnable position, but Sky's beautiful shot with the op, the jump peak is pretty much going to put this one away.
Yeah, Boise State not waiting on this one, wanted to get the round done as fast as possible, gain some more momentum, pushed them away, didn't really even let them get near the planting spots. However, it does look like things might gain some good momentum for Syracuse here. We can see 4 out of their 5 ults are ready, and some of these could be very good for like splitting up and getting some Boise State players out of the way, which could help them gain the momentum they need, especially if they can have Boise State lose some of these weapons that they've been able to store.
They got to use it now, as if they lose this one, the map will be done. As Syracuse, not dissuaded due to the results of last round, are willing to try B again, as it looks like they got the right read as the operators moved a little bit. There is going to be a fight towards U-Haul as the lurk is coming in, but the execute with the showstopper in. Pretz catches Skies on the other side of the map. All 4 Boise State players now towards an elbow. Prestige wants to get a little bit active here, but it looks like he's waiting for his support as Skelosis is here as well. Trailblazer coming out. Doesn't actually catch Atcher, who blindsides Skelosis, but now that he's noted, it's down to him and Prestige. Prestige is a little bit afraid of what could be back here, and he's willing to regroup. Ruriana just going headstrong into the Viper ult here. Lots of shots exchanged, but Owen's going to catch Master. Now a 2v4 or 1v5. Ruriana gets the first good shot. He's going to have to hit 4 more of those. The second, but Owen's not going to let that go too much farther. But they did commit a lot of ultimates on Syracuse's side, although it is good to get around.
Yeah, Syracuse getting the round, also taking out some of the weapons that Boise State had, forcing them to buy again, might be what they need to keep going forward here. Boise State moving up, not really changing their strategy from the previous round, but we can see Syracuse is looking for a new opportunity. Moving back towards A again. We'll have to see how they decide to shake this out. They still have 2 ultimates to Boise State's 1, but Boise State Masters and Prestige are pretty close to theirs, which could be beneficial going forward.
Lots of early contact here towards short, as it looks like Boise State with a little bit of a weapon disadvantage kind of want to get busy here. Skies is now in this corner, kind of unnoted, but the trades are towards long. Skies now feeling a bit of pressure, kind of wants to take a fight, but it looks like Syracuse are actually willing to slow down, which might end up with Skies getting a little bit out of his position here. Syracuse, it doesn't look like they know about it, but as more time goes on, the chances of them checking are lower and lower. Pretz just holding for a flank, and it looks like all of Syracuse is going to group up into this kind of double stack here with Master and Skelsis. The jump peak sort of baiting to try and pretend that they don't have any information, but it looks like Thrash is going to be used quick. He doesn't check Skies. Skies able to get 1. Master's detained, and Asher actually gets both of them. That could have been very scary for the side of Syracuse, not checking that corner.
Boise State, Ray Rihanna rotating as the spike gets planted by Syracuse. Very careful with the Sheriff here, going into the smoke. Doesn't have a lot of information on where they might be, knowing that they might be back there somewhere, checking all their sight lines, not knowing right now that Syracuse has 3 all sitting there. Going into the spot, doesn't quite see the sky and gets taken out.
Yeah, I would almost say if Boise State had better guns there, that one definitely could have been real close. Skies with a good early push, almost got a lot of value. The Thrash even didn't note him, but it was just able to go in the way of Syracuse due to that early fight towards B long. And now we're on even footing here. Both teams able to fully purchase up. Ults are in the side of Boise State, though, who kind of just need to save them all up and use them, as they only really need to win 1 more round.
Yeah, the tables have turned with the ultimates. It's going to make Boise State just very comfortable with what they can do here. And we can see they're pushing up more onto B. Ooh, their only player, well, not their only player, but one of their players gets taken out. Boise State able to secure A. Skelos is taking out Pretz, but they're down 2 while Syracuse is down 1.
Those are good early kills from the side of Syracuse, but after the TP from Skelesis, it seems like Syracuse aren't really too sure what to do, but it looks like they're willing now to regroup outside B, but this is the site with the stack. Owen actually catching Prestige now makes this a little bit less scary. Good dizzy makes Asher able to pick up on Rihanna, who's a sitting duck on top of Tube. And it's all kind of down to Skelicys here in a 1v4. He has pretty much everything to do. Lots of util still on the side of Syracuse. Orbital strike if it has to come to that. But he has managed to clear out all of Elbow. Position's a little bit scary here. Good shot onto T0, gets him a little bit low. Thrash to isolate the fight, but Owen's not going to let it get that far. 8-12 now from Syracuse. Is starting to look a little bit less scary here.
Yeah, Syracuse able to close the gap quite a bit, going from 6-7 now overall, well, I guess 6 rounds, 7 rounds difference to now only a 4-round difference. And with how many rounds you play in Valorant, that's a huge thing to be able to already get that. Looking economy-wise too, they have been able to flip the script. Boise State's the one who has to be very careful about how they choose to spend right now and what they think will be the most effective, while Syracuse gets to kind of decide.
Syracuse has to be a little nervous here holding tab, seeing 5 ults, but it looks like another fight down B long again. Goes the way of Boise State initially, as now Asher has to run from this Thrash. Actually noted and caught. Prestige quick out, but Pretz has his back. Skelicys not really wanting to risk anything here. Gonna let this one come down to a 2v2. Flash notes, but good angle from Rihanna. He might be looking to flank.
The blind denied. Skelicys is just holding the point while we see Sky try to do a nice flank over, but the teleport goes through. Syracuse is going to go try and plant on A. Boise State going from 2 different sides to try and counter as the plant begins.
They have everything to worry about here. Skelicys is a little bit faster than Syracuse thought. The Sky ult actually going to kind of expose everything here, as Rihanna is going to be noted by it. And Syracuse now able to set up in whatever position they want. Although the Annihilation is available for Rihanna, it looks to just be a high-low, and Asher takes it. But that's actually not terrible for Syracuse. Although it was a save for Boise State, they did manage to get the Thrash out, which is 1 ult that's been subtracted from Boise State's 5. So now they only have to worry about 4 others.
Yeah, Sky getting off the ult there, being able to see where everyone was a nice way to just kind of clean up that end around for Syracuse. Now that we're going in, Boise State really getting to hold on to their ultimates. We see 4 out of their 5. Have to see how they choose to use them going forward.
I think this will be the round to use it, probably.
If you don't want to let Syracuse continue their momentum, it would be a good idea. We can see Boise State looking for where they might be, going into shower to do some setup.
Opting to play more cautious as well without that early fight down B long. Skies is kind of going to get faced here by Owen. Trailblazer notes him. Showstopper out from Owen is going to try and clear out U-Haul, but no one's home. So he's probably going to have to shoot it somewhere else. Almost manages to catch one, but doesn't. Now it might be Skies' turn with his own wingman able to get the plant down. Now a 5v5, but a double flank coming in from Boise State. It is being watched, but it's kind of a lot here. Pretz gets the first. Showstopper as well out from Skies. Kind of gets U-Haul. Skelicys able to trade down Pretz. Showstopper not getting a kill might be deceptive. Annihilation catches one, but gets traded out. But T0 gets Master as well. Asher gets one, and this is starting to get a little scary for Boise State here.
That momentum that they worked so hard to gain is slowly starting to go away. 10-2. Match point here for Boise State, but Syracuse is starting to creep up on them. Both teams looking good.
Not surprised to see a timeout coming out here. I think this is a perfect time to use one, as kind of got to stop the bleeding here, bandage the wounds, as a lot of those ults that they had worked so hard to stack up and try and get towards 5 are, they're not online anymore. And with only 2 more rounds until an overtime, which kind of restarts everything, Boise State are really going to have to try and focus. You could see their buy. It looked like they were sort of going for a save, and they were going to be playing for that 11-12, or just going for the 11-13 win, as things have kind of gotten close. It seems like we're a lifetime away from that 6-12 game that we had just a few rounds ago.
Yeah, looking at the resources, it's going to be interesting to also see how Syracuse chooses to use this time, knowing that they've gained momentum, that a timeout was called because of that momentum gained, they'll have to figure out the best way to continue their strategy. Boise State and Syracuse have been able to kind of see each other's strategies. We've been playing enough rounds on both attack and defense to kind of get an idea. And there's been quite a few times where Boise State was able to come up because they were able to trick them through using a similar strategy to before. So Syracuse will really want to look at that and ask themselves, is Boise State going to stick with the strategies that they've been using or try and trick them?
Yeah, it looks like a set play here towards B, 3-stack out of hookah. And it looks like all 5 Syracuse players are going to go long and maybe bypass here. Skelis is going to creep up a little bit, might get rewarded here. But it looks like Habe is ready for him. Prestige gets 1 and also gets 2. This is looking good for Boise State now. The map is sort of cut up into a few different pieces here. And Ririana's here to support the main side of the push, and Boise State is going to spread their tendrils around and try and control most of the map here, play their lives, and this could be a win for them.
Boise State staying careful on B right now, looking for their opportunities. We can see Syracuse is trying to rotate to A, looking for whether or not it's a viable plant. Boise State moving that way as well. Syracuse being really cautious right now, down 2 members to Boise State having all of them. I can't blame them for wanting to be a little bit slower right now and not lose any more people.
And the problem is Boise State could be anywhere. After they got that B main control, they could have spread out pretty much anywhere on the map, and now Syracuse has to go through and re-clear almost the entire map. The longer that they wait, though, it might put some false thoughts into Boise State's head of where this end execute might be, but as time gets slow, it looks like they're going to have to try and execute here towards A. Skies is waiting and watching with a Sheriff, but another TP actually coming over now, but 2 players are ready for them in the elbow. As all of Syracuse jumping out from hookah, Master gets the first, and the crossfire rewarded. Boise State able to take it 10-13, and that timeout, I think it was a good timeout.
Gave them a second to regroup and think, and had a wonderful one after the other there when you could see Syracuse wanting to push up, had limited time, 20 seconds left, they had to plant, and Boise State was able to capitalize on that by just sitting there ready on that sight line.
Played the map pretty well, I would say. Overall, I think they did look like the stronger team there, and I think we'll be able to talk about that a bit more as our analysts on the other desk will be able to kind of break that one down, explain what happened to you guys.
Wow, what an incredible way to finish off the first round. Ending it with a thrifty, but you know what I liked most about that thrifty win that they had at the very end there? Is that it most encapsulated one of the key points that Coach K gave to them before the game, which is if you have control and that numbers advantage, don't rush it. And that was so beautifully done in that last round.
They also stuck to the other point of regrouping after a loss. They had this strategy where once they were at 12 rounds, it was just, hey, we can kind of just chill out, farm up our ults, and then just kind of win the last round with our ults. It doesn't matter. And then when that failed, they hit the timeout, and then we saw that thrifty. It was just great to see.
Yeah, and I cannot understate how many times I see teams don't use that timeout as a resource that's given to them. You know, think of it just as another cooldown you can use in the game. Like, it is so important to be able to regroup after a loss, just like we saw there with Boise State. And they were off to a fairly close start, I should say, mostly throughout the attacking round. I mean, it was traded back and forth while they were in attack.
It was very much just a game of ping pong. It was Boise State's team comp was, once they get the information, like, you're dead. They have mollies, they have gravnet, it's over. But the issue was they weren't able to find where the opponents were playing, so it was very difficult for them to really just to get it going there. That's why we saw that ping pong motion, I think, on the attacking half.
But what really stood out to me was just this huge 5-6 streak of victories in the second half of the round. And a lot of that was just kind of caused by this repeated pushing onto A that we saw from Syracuse.
Yeah, I really wish we saw more Syracuse B pushes. I think after they got hit by that set play in hookah where they were opping on the Rays, and then the Thrash came out to keep the op away from getting traded. That was really, it just really disencouraged them from pushing B, and I think that was the reason why we saw so many A hits.
Well, I posed to you the question at the very beginning of the broadcast. Is it going to be the old or is it going to be the new? And for Boise State, I think the old in terms of Skies being Boise State's prime opper really kind of came through there. Skies it normally is the jet on maps like Ascent and maps like Ascent, where the jet opper is just kind of a default pick. It's a little bit more gutsy to go with the Rays for that, but started with the outlaw pick and cleaned up on that, and then moved on to do pretty well on the op as well.
The outlaw is so punishing. Like if you force up on the second round, you're still one shot, and then going into the third round, now you're one shot again. It's you lose 2 rounds just to someone buying a gun, and it's I can understand how much the outlaw just is able to kind of take control of rounds, just like we see the op do, but only on those economic advantage rounds.
Now, Boise State has picked up the win on Bind, but if I remember correctly, the map lineup that we have before us today, we're going to be moving on to Sunset as the next stage. So what do you think is going to stay the same moving from Bind to Sunset, and what might we see a little bit differently?
Well, I saw that we were seeing a lot of people going into elbow on Bind on the defender side and just kind of staying out there and playing to their advantage of that 90-degree angle to fight with your team. And I think we're going to see that again because Sunset happens to have an elbow. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see if they play into that dynamic of holding elbow and fighting on that crossfire with their team.
Yeah, but of course the elbow on Sunset kind of lends itself a little bit more to the attacking side than the defending side, like it is on Bind. And then one thing I just want to input is I do think we're probably going to see a change up on the Sentinel role, just because Deadlock is such a good pick of an agent in Bind, but that might not translate over to Sunset. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, we're expecting new changes to the map, Sunset, in the future. The devs already said something about like getting rid of this cipher tripwire that you just can't shoot out on the B site. You have to spend like 300, 400 utility just to break a cipher trip. And the worst part is that the cipher can just recall it when he thinks you're about to like throw a shock dart or an aftershock, and then you're there again with the cipher trip. And so I think we're going to see a Cypher on probably both teams. He's just so incredibly, he's a staple of the Sunset meta. And that's pretty much it.
And of course, a great measure on how good your Cypher is going to be is how effectively can they use that ultimate, that neural theft. Because if you're able to get it to hit, it's so much information you could get over to your team. The problem is just finding a safe opportunity to use it.
Exactly. And Sunset, it yields itself to the attackers really only have 3 pushes they can do. It's either this B mid split, this B push, or this A push. And so if you're able to get a Cypher ult off on the defending side, then you kind of just know what's going to come, and you can adjust really easily to that. So I think that's going to be really important to see how the neural theft is played into the rounds.
Well, it was sure an exciting game 1, and we're getting ready for round 2 coming up very shortly here. So I think if there's nothing else left for us to discuss here in the studio, we're going to send it back to the arena, because I definitely, Boise State, after a win like that, the Thrifty, I cannot wait what more surprises they have in store for us.
Especially on their map pick now, right?
Yep, they picked Sunset for a reason. So let's see why they picked Sunset. Zach and Audrey, take us back.
Awesome. New map, new opportunities. The only real thing that's going to truly change for us besides the map is just the experience of the players between each other. We're not going into this fresh. All the teams, they've seen each other, they've seen the plays, they've seen how they work. So now it'll be interesting to see how that informs their play style going into a new map with new characters. We've heard a little bit of talk about Cypher coming in. Another personal favorite of mine, tripwires on Sunset are pretty nasty. Are there any other thoughts that you have on characters that you would see that maybe change from the previous setup that we had going forward?
Daimyo loves the Harbor on Sunset, at least from the games that they've played previously. So I would not be surprised to see a Harbor. It's one of those characters that really thrives in a lot of team coordination. And the Fade as well. Boise State loves initiators on Sunset. I've obviously seen them play more than Syracuse, but I think we're probably going to see the Harbor and the Fade come through.
Harbor and Fade will be really fun to see, especially because they're just very interesting characters. I love the theme of Harbor, just another water character. You know, Sage is ice, and now we've got actual ocean. Being able to push up the waves, create those really good just block lines for the team is always awesome, especially, you know, being a team play character, like you mentioned, in competitive esports. It's great to see a character that doesn't always shine, like, say, in like solo play, really get to shine here in team play where everyone gets to communicate.
Yeah, and Boise State they're clearly good with their communication. I saw at least 6 or 7 set plays that they had there on Bind, and it seemed like they were very willing to talk to each other and sort of set things up.
Yeah, and we're going into the agent picks. Boise State is locked in. Syracuse is prepping. We can see that the lineup has changed quite a bit for Boise State.
Yep.
Not keeping any of the characters that they used last time, with our main double picks being Omen and Cypher. Syracuse keeping a couple of the characters that they had with, I saw Raze and Gecko.
And we saw the guy, we saw him, Yoru. He's
Yeah.
on the field. Same with the Neon. I think 2 of the most enjoyable characters as a spectator to watch. You know, really lends themselves to flashy sort of gameplay, and I think that's what Boise State's feeling right now in their comfort pick. I think they're ready to get involved and kind of show what they got to Syracuse.
I'm going to be eating really well this match. My main characters that I play when I'm learning is Neon, Yoru, and Cypher. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this match. We can see Boise State and Syracuse both setting up right now, with Boise State on the defender side and Syracuse on attack, looking for their new sightlines. We can see, you know, very similar actually to the previous match. Syracuse starting on A, more clumped up, looking for their opportunities. We can see some tripwires already being set up as well.
One thing that's great about the Yoru is with the gate crash, he's almost able to play on 2 sites at once. As you can see, Skies puts it sort of towards B site and he's playing A, so no matter what happens, he'll be ready. As early orb, it looks like they're coming towards the dimensional drift and looking to pick that up. Fake out utilized. Although Syracuse doesn't fall for it, the trip gets hit. That trip being so early is going to make Boise State maybe think that that's for a lurker, but they're still willing to utilize the Paranoia, and Skelis slides in getting 1. Paranoia from the other side, though, Syracuse getting it back. Hayabusa gets 2, and it's actually coming out in the favor of Syracuse here.
Syracuse able to get the lead on characters, pushing up to A. We can see Cypher looking for his opportunity. Owen pushing into the plant spot, puts up a barrier, goes into the smoke, waiting for the plant, waiting for his teammate to join him. Yep, gonna lurk elbow, looking for, oh, we can see Boise State sneaking up on the Raze, gets taken out, hits a recon arrow, able to, it gets destroyed, but he does get the Raze, and Syracuse takes out the other Boise State player, taking the first round.
Yep, that was good team play out of Syracuse. I really enjoy that, although they didn't really expect 3 people there willing to use all the util, the Paranoia, the slide out from Neon. They were quick to respond with a Paranoia of their own, and then they used the man advantage to win the round, and I think that was good looks from both teams. I like the set plays, and I like the responses.
Yeah. Now, we did see this last time, Syracuse taking the first round, Boise State going into the next round with the pistol round, so we'll get to see, will Boise State be able to pull off another pistol round win? Something that's typically very unlikely, but could be pulled off. We already see trade going through, Neon and Raze out, respectively, with Syracuse trying to push through the middle area, Boise State locking it down.
Woo gets 1 of his own, but pretty much any damage is good damage if you're Boise State here onto Syracuse. Woo taken down to half HP as well. Syracuse now grouping up, looking to hit B site, and it looks like no one's home. But that's a pretty good setup still. Boise State really willing to play the retake here. Listen for the noise. They know that it's on B now, and they're going to try and group up and maybe get a bit more damage, as this is a very difficult site to play post-plant on. As you can see, Syracuse playing mostly towards main. They're kind of just going to be spraying the bomb, and Boise State, this does lend itself to luck, though. If Syracuse manages to miss on the spray, Boise State could manage to sneak around here, as their smokes are still alive.
Sova sneaking around in the background. Skies gets taken out. So does Sova. It's up to Prestige now, 3-1. Plant spike is down, gets the headshot. doesn't know where they are. He's going to go for the defuse. They let him, but they're able to take him out with a nice played shock bolt from Sova.
Yep, it could have definitely gotten a bit scarier there if Boise State had lived a bit longer, because as you could see, with the smokes alive, a lot of those B site post plants kind of come down to whether or not the attacking team is able to get shots onto the person defusing the bomb through the smoke, and that can be kind of scary, but luckily it went the way of Syracuse, or they would have been in trouble again, losing another pistol round or another bonus.
Yeah, they had the benefit of also having the shock bolt, which doesn't need to be as accurate to get the hit, and so they were able to take him out. We can see now Syracuse not grouping up as tightly at the beginning. Boise State pushing up on A, looking for that same spot, but Syracuse is not there. They're hanging out in mid right now, looking to find an opportunity, but Boise State almost doesn't really know fully that they have them locked in, but they kind of do, pushing Syracuse back over to A.
Skelesis, he has an early angle here, willing to kind of take first contact towards A, but Thrash, a really early Thrash, is going to make him have to run away here. The Thrash is taken down, but elbows gained. Owen's going to maybe go for a peek. Good combination of util. Owen paint shells back sight, going to force Skelesis out, but he's able to run around using his slides perfectly. He's able to live. And now the reinforcements are here. Syracuse has now hit a brick wall. 4 people on the A site. There's not much more for them to do here. Prez sitting in the smoke, trying to get something out as the rest of his team leaves. Smoke drops, he gets the first. Shock dart coming through, or recon dart rather, backside. And after that kill, Syracuse maybe wanting to come back a little, but I think it wouldn't be the greatest idea as Boise State's still ready. Main is being held. Boise State's getting real low here. Shock dart coming through, might get a kill. Oh, big fast kills. Pretz's location actually ended up winning Syracuse the round there. Inside that smoke, I think initially what he wanted to do was have his teammates leave and then him maybe get 1 or 2 and kind of sort of sell.
Kind of distract them, make them think that they're still committing to A before they actually plant on B, but then they thought maybe they could make it.
He ended up working out so well that they just came back.
Yeah, we'll just come back and help, clean up. Yeah, with that, Syracuse has given themselves a nice lead, 0-3. Boise State not really able to invest a lot in weapons this round either. It's giving Syracuse some nice wiggle room, and you can see that they're splitting up a little bit more, looking more for that B push right now. Location revealed by the Sova. That's going to make Boise State push back a little bit. It's giving them some nice room to work with. They're doing a bit of a slower start here, as they kind of have been for the last 3 rounds.
A bit of a mid-crunch actually from Boise State. I think the point of that owl camera there was to try and dissuade Syracuse from pushing the site, saying, oh, Cypher's here, but Syracuse not really going to fall for it now in a post plant with 4 Boise State members looking to flank.
Yeah, could be a very devastating flank too, depending on where they end up sitting. We can see Boise State moving into engage. Yoru taken out. Omen looking for an opportunity for a smoke. Syracuse all looking the other direction as we see Sova looking for an opportunity to pick someone off. Neon's going to try and push up. Not able to, though, with the Cypher cage there.
Lots of utility onto that spike.
Huge standstill here. The defuse is going to go through. Prestige is going to try it. Sova's going to push through, tries to take out Omen, succeeds. And Syracuse is able to get the win by taking out all of the opposing force here.
That was a very close round again, as the map ended up sort of getting flipped with Syracuse almost looking like the ones retaking that, as Boise State 4 on the flank got slightly rewarded, but it wasn't enough with the inferior weaponry, but the damage was very impressive, and now ults are online.
Yeah, ults are online, so that'll add another complexity to the thought process here of which side to go to. And I also wonder if Syracuse is starting to get wise to Ray Rihanna flanking that we've been seeing very consistently, trying to get around. We can see Skelesis already just activating the ult, going straight in his Neon, pushing forward. Syracuse moving to the A.
Yeah, this information that he just gained with the overdrive can't really be understated, as now Boise State aware of everything. Daimyo holding strong, gets the first, but he's traded. Now Skelesis in a weird position. T0 able to shut, but good timing from Mariana, catches the plant before it comes down. Ooh, now trying to get a bit more information here. The neural theft is gonna know Ririana, but he's willing to just take the fight. And T0, he's the last one alive, and he's noted.
Oh,
Sky's good
Yoru's
angle.
able to take it out. Yep.
And
Set up and ready to go, right on the sight line.
Boise State now on the board, and it was a good-looking round out of them. It was a little bit scary, but I do like all the information gained from that overdrive kind of allowed them to play with a lot more knowledge of where the eventual site hit was going to be.
Yeah, Boise State sitting with 2 ults and Syracuse's 4. Able to get a little bit better weaponry through this too. That'll be very good going forward. Getting around is invaluable for that economy momentum shutdown that Syracuse has been able to just kind of monopolize on for a while.
Same sort of play out towards B, early control, but the Hunter's Fury this time to back it up. Gets a tag, but not able to get anything more. And Syracuse sort of kind of boxed in here with Sky's early up B actually might be taking a fight here, as it looks like Syracuse are aware and willing to re-clear this B main of all the space that he's gained. Gate crash set up, takes contact, and yep, it's used. Showstopper committed to try and clear everything. Sky's actually early peak, barely gets out with his life. Same with Owen, both taken down very low. Playing on the edge of a knife here.
The plant going through. Syracuse planting on B. Boise State coming from both angles right now, looking for their opportunities. We can see in B main, shots are being fired. Boise State, Syracuse pushing into that area, getting taken out by Boise State. With the last member out, now all they need to do is defuse and they can take another round.
That was a really good protocol there from Boise State. The early B aggression, it made them made Syracuse force the showstopper, which ended up not getting any eliminations. And then the double flank after that kind of put the nail in the coffin on Syracuse's push, because what they want to do is they want to get the bomb down and control all of main to be able to sort of just spray down the bomb, play all safe, and not really risk any scary one-on-one engagements. But the double flank doesn't really allow that to happen. It takes the fight to them. Prestige with 3 massive kills, also able to kind of close that one out in the favor of Boise State.
Things evening out a little bit in the economy game here. Boise State getting a bit more momentum with that. They're going to be able to contest quite a bit more with the weapons, and that's going to be great going forward. We can already see Syracuse deciding to move back towards A. They're good old reliable from the previous round here.
Skelesis knocked off his angle by the Owl drone, and now A-Site's looking like a retake here from Boise State with Thrash committed. That's actually pretty good for Boise State. I don't think that Syracuse is going to be able to retrieve that orb, and it looks like Boise State again with the double flank is going to try and catch T0 here. T0 notes it, and he's not really going to be willing to give them too much here. Skelesis thought he got the trip, but he didn't. T0 going to punish him, but does he know of one more? And he does. Daimyo also noted now the rest of the Boise State players have to play in this one from main. Ririana versus Owen. Satchel trying to isolate the fights. Perfect Satchel. T0 third from the back with Prestige. 1v1 now. Owen versus Skies. Both of their positions noted. Another Satchel. Tap on the bomb. Owen jiggling, playing with his food, and he's going to close it out. About as close as it could be there. T0 with 3 giant kills on the lurk. They were actually able to deal with that double flank that Boise State has been hitting every round.
Yeah, Syracuse adapting to the strategy, taking out Boise State, preventing the momentum from gathering too much and keeping their lead of 3 rounds right now. It's going to be an interesting play, I think, to see going forward as we're getting close to swap and how this will shift for the players.
We haven't mentioned his name too much, but Prestige has really been getting active these rounds. Those were back-to-back 3Ks from him. This time, not rewarded with the round win, but he's really in form right now, and this is kind of scary if you're Syracuse here, as Sky is going to, actually noted by the Owl drone, gate crash again, set up to get that early contact, and he's out of there. Daimyo now putting up the tripwires and recalls it just in time, as our analysts were talking about, to be a little bit scary for the B site, as the Hunter's Fury now invested from Syracuse gets a good ping. And the site execute kind of coming through. It's looking a bit scary here as Daimyo, a lot of space to work with the Guardian, is able to get the first, not the second, but now it's down to a 1v3. Neural Theft even committed, not looking good. Skies inside the Dimensional Drift is going to spot out Woo Woo, who only has a Bulldog, upgrades himself, but now he's got to play into a 1 versus 3 here. Not a lot of utility either. He does have the ultimate, and it looks like he might be willing to use it here, but Boise State definitely aware. But he grabs it in time, and he's actually going back to the B site.
See what his plan here is. Yoru waiting for him. Sky is looking for his opportunity. With the smoke down, we've created a just nice little barrier. Oh, he tries to look. He thinks he knows where he is, but Sky's able to take that opportunity, and Prestige helps him out, taking out Woo Woo, getting Boise State another round.
Definitely an interesting look there from Woo Woo. I like the ult fake, because normally if someone Omen ults the bomb, you know, that means that they're hightailing out of there, getting as quick as they can to A, but actually he wanted to go back onto B site, but Boise State was not fooled for 1 second. They still held 3 strong towards the spike, and they managed to pick up their third here with a pretty clean round.
I do appreciate Omen really thinking about how he wanted to use his ult, though. It is a hard ult to use, but trying to go for the fake out, I do understand that. As we go into this next round, we can see pushing through mid.
B given up fast by Syracuse, who are looking to sort of play more towards market or top mid maybe, but Boise State quick with the response, has 3 ready in position. Skelesis is going to be tested here with Prestige on the high-low. Flash coming out, but it's shot quickly. Stun hits everything. Big spray through the Paranoia, gets 2, but it gets traded back by Hayabusa. Daimyo now, from the back, gets 2, and he's willing to hit that Neural Theft committed. A sign of respect shown towards Syracuse, with both players now noted. Ririana's quick on the flank, and Skies might be able to shut it down here before it even starts, as he gets both of them. Nice headshots from him, and I think that was just a great play there from Boise State, a good read on what Syracuse is willing to do since they ceded kind of possession of most of the other parts of the map so quickly.
Yeah, getting that read, they were able to get a very good spray on all of the opponents, though if they had been a little, like if Syracuse had pulled a little bit slower, that could have also been devastating for Boise State with the way that that trade went.
Yeah.
It was not the best of trades, but it did ultimately go there for Boise State, and they were able to get the win. So they'll have to be careful with that. Syracuse will probably be much more cautious with that type of push in the future. As we can see, they're already going back to more of a B push.
Yeah, finally willing to fight for it, as it's going to be a difficult one to push into, even with the Owl drone, as a Sova and a Cypher is difficult, but the Cypher trips are actually set up a little bit differently than the standard, playing a bit more for backside, but the reinforcement so quickly already here. Thrash committed, but it's stunned and taken care of. Paint Shell's a little bit of damage onto Skelesis, but not really anything to write home about. Syracuse gonna try and really get out of here, and they won't really face much resistance with Sky's kind of just playing back, waiting for the first player, but he does have an operator.
Sky's with the operator on Yoru on A. Goes for the shot, misses it.
Right between 2 players.
Sets up a gate crash. We can see he's looking for another sightline. Gets Pretz this time, teleports out of there, looks for his next sightline, takes out the Gecko. He's really putting in some work, gets the 3rd op shot. I mean, now pushing up,
even hit
goes
that one.
for the Omen, and with Cypher out, gets the flawless for Boise State. That was some beautiful op play.
Feeling it a little bit now, and that's what they write in the textbooks about Yoru op. Good gate crash placement, able to get the one and then get out before the trade is inbound, and beautiful op shots onto the rest of them. He's just looking clean out here. Ooh, that one was clean. He even hits the last one here too, even though it was through the wall.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that shot was crazy. And now Syracuse choosing to use their timeout, which we actually didn't see at all last map.
Yeah, 5-5 now. They've been able to bring it from 0 all the way up to a tie, which is going to be really good momentum. Very similar to how we got near the last round. We're coming up close to a swap at this point, so it'll be interesting to see how the strategies evolve. With this timeout, gives both teams the opportunity to think and see how they're going to continue to strategize. Syracuse most likely hoping to cut off some momentum as well from Boise State that they were able to build up from that insane play that they got on that round and the previous round.
with that start 0-4, you would have never known it was an 0-4 start with how well Boise State have adapted to these plays that Syracuse is laying out here. The B main control is really kind of the main catalyst of all of this as Boise State started fighting for, towards B site. If there's no resistance, they automatically know that they're not towards the other parts of the site, right? Or they're not towards B at least. And then if there is fighting, Boise State able to use the gate crash to just get out and waste a whole lot of util.
Yeah, Syracuse switching up their gameplay a little bit, going closer to mid, but spreading out right now, trying to play a little bit farther back, not get preyed on by those who are on B right now. You can see Boise State switched up a little bit here as well. Moving right into main right now. Boise State really kind of locking them in, you can actually see. Boise State on both sides. Syracuse trying to go through the middle. They're going towards A. Boise State backing up to give them the space. They don't necessarily need to push it right now because we're going to see this go through as they now just get sprayed down by Boise State's other side as they push from B here. Just flawless.
Great set play.
Taken out.
That was great. And again, it's the B main control. They push out, they see a bit of presence, and then they call for prestige. They say, or come over, or yeah, they say, hit us a quick little blind. And then beautiful double spray. Skelis, no fear in his heart, just willing to run him down. And then the wrap as well. Skies gets one with the op. Although that is Syracuse's bonus, so it's not the worst round to lose, but there are not really very many ults on the board, only the overdrive to speak of.
Yeah, last round before the swap, it's all in now for both teams, 6-5. Boise State has taken the lead. And you can see Syracuse once again trying to play farther back, not immediately trying to commit to B or A. Boise State trying to take advantage of that. We've got one Boise State member taken out, one Syracuse member taken out. Gecko and Neon out of the running right now as Boise State's giving them some space, letting them come up. They're totally willing to wait right now as Cypher's laying all his traps.
It's a 1-for-1 in main, but the showstopper actually invested by Syracuse, not really going to find anything of note here. As Boise State quick on the retake. Skies actually has a lot of room with the op.
Oh.
Shot goes wide, but the dimensional drift is coming out quick to be able to kind of get things back in control. Every single player noted, all four, going around the corner now, playing with their heads a little bit. Syracuse a little confused. They think he might be back there. And Skies gets one. Both players now towards B main. It's going to come down to this defuse as Ririana forward. It's up to him and T0. T0 gets the first and the second. Skies popping off. They're both low, though. Tap on. Gets the first and the second. Good spray down. 3 from Skies. Actually opting to switch back to the rifle, and he is rewarded.
You know, I was looking there as Skies was sitting there, you know, tempting fate, trying to get them to bait out. I was like, is he going to be able to catch them? Because two of them on that line, but some beautiful shot placement there takes out the 2v1. It was a well-done play by Skies there.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy from Syracuse on the double peek, but Skies perfectly able to punish it. And even though they're both low, he headshots both of them. We'll see it again. That's the first and that's the second. Wouldn't matter if they were 150 health or 1 health. That play would have worked regardless. Good shots out of him, and we bring into a very solid half actually for Boise State, given that this map is known to be relatively attacker-sided, and with such an aggressive comp with the Yoru and Neon, Boise State are gonna be happy with that one.
Yeah, with Neon and Yoru, Boise State will be able to push up, though now we might be able to see how Syracuse is able to use their Cypher a lot like how Boise State's been using their Cypher on a lot of that area. You can see the firefight is already beginning with Syracuse taking out the Neon, not letting that momentum that we talked about happening. Takes out the recon bolt, denying information, taking out the Sova. Getting into a firefight, Yoru, Sova, Neon down. Syracuse really holding down the line on B here. Location revealed on Prestige. He's being chased. They know where he is. So we'll have to see now that Syracuse has the numbers advantage, how this plays out for Boise State and what they decide to do. They still have Spike, but
Down to 1v5. Not gonna find anything, and I think Boise State got a little bit sloppy on that one. If you couldn't see on the map, Skelis instantly ran down main and went for a fight onto the Syracuse Sova, and it was not rewarded. And then Rihanna caught with a dart in his hand on B as well. They're sort of, I think they need to kind of lock it in here and realize that although they had a good half with some good individual performances, this one's still not over yet.
As what we've kind of seen, Boise State going into the pistol round with being the ones with the pistols. We'll have to see if this plays out similarly. We can see Syracuse very emboldened by that. They're able to get some nice plays. So now that they've got B locked down, we'll have to see how Boise State chooses to take this. Are they going to do similar plays to Syracuse with how they push towards, or going to avoid A, or if they're going to try and go through? But it looks like they're already going to be down Sova and Neon when they're taken out in the mid-bottom area.
Yeah, double stack towards mid might put this one away before it's kind of even really started for Boise State. However, if it's only a consolation prize, Owen is now one shot to the sheriff that Skies has. Creeping forward, Syracuse just really willing to wait this one out, show the respect, even in a 5v3 scenario, which Skies is going to make him earn the respect. But Woo Woo trades it back. Hayabusa gets another one, and it's all up to Prestige, also taken down. A pretty clean round from Syracuse, and I think that's kind of showing a pretty large difference here in the game plan between Boise State and Syracuse, just with Boise State now willing to get a bit more fluid and cocky almost, and wanting to just kind of take fights early. Syracuse giving an insane amount of respect, even in a 5v3 with superior guns. They're not willing to let anything slip.
Yeah, we can see tied now 7-7, bringing it even. We're most likely going to be going a similar amount of rounds as before, as both teams adapting to each other's strategies and getting comfortable with their new position. Syracuse seeming to be very comfortable with defense right now. Watching all of their sight lines, Boise State really not wanting to immediately push up into mid, as that's what caused two players to be taken out before. Sky is setting up his gate crash. Shots are fired. Ray Rihanna trying to do some pre-fire, getting some more information for their team, but Syracuse isn't really necessarily trying to let them get much. Sky's getting some good information with that dimensional drift, though. Ooh. In the middle of A.
Owen Bucky actually gets when he's still in that corner, and Boise State not really wanting to test it. However, Daimyo is so far forward. I don't think Woo Woo has noted him, but with every passing second, it's more likely he's going to be checked here. Surprisingly, only in a 3v3 here for Boise State and Syracuse. Syracuse on their bonus, looking pretty good, as now Daimyo is forced into a pretty regular on angle, and Syracuse just taking fights early. Woo Woo catches Skies out. Pretz gets another. Woo Woo closes out the third, and that's a bonus round the way of Syracuse, which is most likely going to result in another one next round. Definitely a bit of a switch up here in their game plan.
Yeah, with the defuse, they have taken the momentum back from the previous team. Well, Boise State getting some momentum, but Syracuse has decided to take it back in the early rounds of swapping to defense. They seem very comfortable with this right now. Their builds, well, their character setups being well suited for this and just understanding where they are very comfortable with this, and Boise State having to adapt with that. Stuck on the pistols right now, trying to save to get some better opportunities in later rounds. It's going to be a very interesting fight. We can see that Syracuse has been able to invest.
Yeah, I think Boise State a little bit tentative to play into the strengths of their comp here, as it's kind of just, it's a bit, you know, you got to really get in their faces here with the Neon and the Yoru, and Syracuse shutting that down early now kind of has Boise State changing up their game plan a little, looking like a bit more of a standard default to try and get some more util creeping forward. And T0 is actually going to probably be the one tested here, and he's ready to hold on to Prestige. Ooh. Gets the first. Sky's going to try and trade it back here, but T0 caught looking away. Sky's gets the first. Woo Woo quick on the trade, though. Going to make sure this one doesn't get too out of control. Two towards mid. This could be a fight here in a second. And Owen barely catches Rihanna sneaking away. And Daimyo has a great timing up here onto Owen. Actually catches him. That might be an upgrade, but Woo Woo's ready for him. And Pretz in the backup. Daimyo's going to have to let this rifle go. Sure, he'd love to get it. Late flank out of Rihanna possibly here. But Boise State's going to have to stay alive long enough for it to really matter. And it looks like Rihanna's actually going to catch him out.
Nice.
This is getting scary now for Syracuse, who have now managed to get control of the site. The plant, however, is is good for main. Pretz gets the first. Wingman still on it. Wingman actually shut down. Bombs halved. Good stun comes in. Skelis is down to really low HP. Same with Ririana. Pretz by himself off the tap. The slide coming through. Good coordination with that slide and the peek off of Ririana. Barely stopped things from getting a little bit too out of control. And of course, Boise State have to win the hard one.
Yeah, we can see here a trade at the last minute, but because Boise State was already ahead with characters, able to get rid of the wingman on that and just push Sova back. He really had to look at it and he couldn't do a lot, tried to go for the fake out, but allowed Boise State to get the thrifty, which they definitely need going forward.
Cute spray onto the wall, giving Skelesis bit of momentum here into mid, and it looks like Boise State now a bit willing to play their advantages. Great round out of them. They kind of played all the extremities of the map up really well. Trapwire noted. Owen taken down really low on A site. Now kind of has to play a bit more cautious, and the default looking good for Boise State. And it looks like they're kind of just willing to feel this one out a little bit more, kind of take a while. Sunset kind of lends itself to slow play, but
look at that Boise State gate crash, though. It's all the way in the back line there. Sky is waiting for his opportunity.
I don't know if it's been noted. Actually, I think it has.
Probably
Syracuse's
has.
Omen might know of this. I don't know if Skies is really willing to hit that. He is. He actually takes it. He's now in their spawn, and it doesn't look like he's been heard. He's gonna catch this Owen. He catches Skies.
Oh, he's
their backs are almost touching. What is happening? Ririana gets two, and it looks like Boise State have come out of this one on top. And Syracuse, maybe loud comms, couldn't hear the Yoru right there. Random shot through the smoke. Skelis is going to claim Pretz, and it's back to T0 again. Yeah. All in a 1v4. He might just be willing to save his gun on that one, and that was insane play from Boise State. I didn't think Skies was going to do it. I didn't think he was brave enough, but he proved me wrong. And
I was looking at that, and I was like, well, there's a chance, right? Like, even if it gets noted, if it moves far back enough, it'll become, I mean, either way, if he leaves it there long enough, they might forget about it. Yeah. Or, you know, it becomes a good opportunity, and he decided to take it, and it ended up working really well for Boise State. We can see that now he's just going to try and save. Cypher's just sitting in the corner here. Boise State's looking for him, hoping to maybe take him out, but he's able to save the gun, keeping Syracuse's resources for the next round as best they can, which, you know, sometimes when, you know, you're in a 1v4,
that's all you can really ask for.
Why lose the gun?
Yeah, that was really interesting. I wonder if not only was the gate crash not heard, but I almost think they didn't even realize where they were getting shot from, and that it was behind them the whole time. That was just a great play, really using Yoru's strengths as we talked about. And Sky's really performing on the pick, kind of showing to everybody that it's viable now. And 4 ults on the side of Boise State. This one might be another into the weaker buy of Syracuse.
I'm excited to see how Pretz will use his ultimate, though. Sova's Hunter's Fury has been really good on this map for both teams. Might give them some good space that they're going to need while trying to defend against Boise State's push onto B. Not a lot of people on B right now. Cypher just holding it, sitting there with his camera, trying to get some good sight lines. Gate crash failed. He's going to activate his ultimate.
Yeah, B's sort of a weaker sight here. And it looks like the setup with the dimensional drift onto the market player. And Ririana's crept so far forward. It's only Woo Woo. Mid again, scary. Daimyo swings out into a 3v3. Lots of stuff going on there. It looked like Boise State wanted to set up a set play using the dimensional drift and the paranoia onto the market player, but T0 managed to escape and get another on his way out. But Boise State, Ririana quick on the wrap market. I don't think this is going to be expected. Hunter's Fury up, playing for main. There's a gap in the smoke off the tap. Skies can really get something done here.
Another smoke
Perfect
down.
shot onto Wingman. Showstopper missing as well. Ririana's flank has come in, and now battle on 2 fronts. Hunter's Fury takes Owen off the bomb. And last one on Ririana. Ririana cleans it out. 3 kills, really big flank. Great play out of Boise State with all those ults committed. They'll be glad that they won that round.
Yeah, you never want to lose a round that you committed. I mean, looking at the board, most of their ults at this point, though Syracuse has been able to stock up a couple more. The Boise State now getting the economy game back on their side, ahead 2 rounds, starting to get more comfortable into their attacker strategy. Syracuse not quite able to handle it like they were earlier, not shutting it down as fast, giving Boise State some opportunity to maybe switch up their strategy, moving towards A. We see the recon bolt go out, gets a little bit of information for Boise State.
Early fights about to come in. Skies is going to be tested. He gets the first quick traded by Woo, and Owen catches Skelesis. Not only are those 2 kills, but those are 2 big guns claimed on the side of Syracuse, who are actually on a sheriff buy. Rihanna able to clear the site with the rest of Boise State in tow here, but Syracuse going to take a page out of Boise State's own playbook and send in a double flank.
We'll see if this ends up panning out for Syracuse. They're going slow with the current flank. Boise State getting the opportunity to dig in a little bit after the plant.
T0 aware, but he's punished regardless. Prestige also catches the others, and now the double flank ends up being a bit bad for Syracuse as they're kind of locked out here. The map flipped to market. The plant is going to be very hard to play into. Tap noted, and the rest of them are going to be cleaned up. Good play, not only from Syracuse on the opening kills, but Boise State managed to find the perfect response with like deep aggression into mid here, catching T0. T0 was aware, but Rihanna just better on the shots, and they're gonna get up to 11.
Yeah, I will say, Woo trying to go for the defuse there. They had a nice setup, but the information that Boise State was able to gather ultimately allowed them to get better positioning on them. With that, Syracuse and Boise State creating an even larger distance between the two, 3-round difference. Boise State looking really good in the economy. We're seeing a lot of that back and forth from the first match coming back again. Boise State starting to take it away, moving towards that mid spot, though they are down their neon.
Yeah, as quickly as they ran in, they ran away after the paranoia gets a good hit, and Owen able to clean up onto Skelesis. Now Boise State forced to slow down and sort of play the map a little bit. Syracuse Gecko ready on the angle, notes him, barely manages to get out with his life, and that's really good information here. And the mid players are kind of going to have to pick up something here. They might have to get a little bit more room. The gate crash going into mid, and you know Skies likes to hit those, but maybe this time Syracuse will note it. 2 players very close to be able to hear it. Rihanna is deep in elbow actually. And this is going to be a very interesting round if you're Boise State, not knowing really how to play this, not too much information gained. Owl Drone clearing out A site might actually be a little bit deceptive because 3 players are waiting right there. Fake gate crash in, kind of confuses Syracuse who are kind of just falling back. But Pretz gets the better of Daimyo on the timing, gets another, but Skies cleans out too. However, Woo with the response, now it's up to Rihanna who's deep in here. Oh, shots a little bit wide, Hayabusa cleans it. And that was a very interesting round again from Boise State and Syracuse. Syracuse really just giving a lot of respect to Boise State even when a man up.
Yeah, Syracuse not wanting to let this go easily, able to take the round, playing a little bit more carefully on A and locking down the information Boise State was able to gain. Now able to gain a little bit better weaponry to go up against Boise State. The Boise State still has the econ advantage. Syracuse, though, with their current ultimate status, are looking pretty strong to shut down anything that Boise State plans.
Yeah, Syracuse, as streaky as Boise State is with these rounds, Syracuse is as well, noting the bind game. And this can easily kind of go either way here, especially on a map like Sunset. However, Skies makes a bit of noise and then ends up TPing back to A with that gate crash. Spike still in the spawn of Boise State, kind of just shows that this one's maybe just a bit of a default, trying to gain some information. But Syracuse really isn't budging on their hold. Owen trying to get some information towards A with the Cypher camera on B. However, all the trips are down. Owl Drone notes that no one's on the site, but nothing's really changing here other than Skelesis getting a bit of a nerve, ready to push, double swing out. Barely misses Hayabusa. Hayabusa still watching, manages to get out barely. Both sites are actually being walked up, and this is a little bit sketchy for both teams here, as it looks like Syracuse got the wrong read and rotated over to A, as Boise State are really quick rotating with the neon out. T0 catches the first. As the neural theft comes in, the bald Cypher's dealt with. And this is kind of going to show Syracuse what they need to do here for the rest of the round.
Oh, Syracuse moving up now. Boise State getting the plant.
Timing. Bad timing for Prestige. As Owen also cleans up Skies. Daimyo in the back, though, getting this one back with a neural theft of his own. Showstopper popped. And it catches one onto Skelesis. It's all up to Daimyo, who's quickly traded by Pretz. These rounds are coming down to the last man. This is getting very sketchy for both teams. That was if you're watching just the mini-map that round, that was an insane round. Boise State walked 2 up B, 1 up mid, and 2 up A as well. And it's an IGL's nightmare, really, because it's both sites are free. Which site do we go to? How do we pick? And they did end up picking the correct one. However, the retake just went the way of Syracuse.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that Syracuse was able to do the retake that after, like, because you were talking about the minimap, when we were watching those rotations happen, I was like, Boise State is able to get the retake on, well, like, the read and go to B, while Syracuse thinks that they're moving to A. With that could be really dangerous and give them the setup time they need, but Syracuse was able to get the information they needed through a neural theft to then counter it.
Speaking of information, Dimensional Drift is actually going to catch 3 players. He's kind of in a weird spot. Good paranoia, gets the double spray. And a beautiful shot onto Woo Woo. Sky's not wanting to play a map 3 here, trying to put this one away himself if he has to, although he doesn't have to put it away himself as Prestige. Beautiful paranoia, going to give him all the support he wants. T0 and Pretz a little bit farther forward than maybe expected here. Gets the first, gets the second, but the spray from Skelesis is clean, and Skies is looking great.
Boise State able to come back, take the round, bring it to match point, with the Yoru taking out so many players from Syracuse's side. They were really able to get the numbers advantage and just push that fact and get the plant. Syracuse now going to have to think very carefully going into this last round here, potentially for them, and they really don't want it to be the last round, so they need to balance that caution, though,
Skies
too.
has taken over this series. He was far and away the best player on Bind as well, so he's really putting up numbers, doing his job to the best that he possibly could on this duelist role. Daimyo catching a really early spray through the smoke onto Woo Woo is going to make this one hard for Syracuse. No smokes this early in the round, but the default's still going to give them a bit of time to breathe, as it looks like they're going to take an early fight. Syracuse gets the first and are kind of willing to settle as they catch one onto Ririana, and now they're willing to go back. Boise State gets a completely open sight onto B, and it's going to be another classic B retake, but this time Skelesis' position might note the rotates. It looks like Gecko's aware. A fight coming down mid. Hayabusa gets the better of him. Now this one's a bit more linear, as all of Boise State's going to be playing main here, and Syracuse a little bit late here on the flood. They've kind of got to get it together here if they want to have a lot of time, because oftentimes that's the biggest issue.
His time, yeah.
Checking for flank with the Omen ultimate.
Syracuse does have the numbers advantage, pushing the Boombot in.
Man on the bomb.
It's taken
Daimyo
out.
gets it.
Wow.
It's all up to 1. Can he get the defuse? It's going to come down to this. Daimyo 4K to close out the series.
And with that, Boise State is able to take the map.
That was a crazy game. I mean, both games 13-10. I think Syracuse looked good, but however, in those intense moments, Boise State, I think, had a bit better individuality, especially noting Skies, who had an insane series. Obviously, Daimyo that last round. Prestige was great on Sunset. It looked good from they had a lot more sort of individual performance moments that I think was able to seal the deal.
I do want to know how effective Syracuse was in their ability to analyze quite often a couple times. Like Boise State had some really tricky plays, and Syracuse was able to take that and adjust and kind of pull them into their own trap by going, okay, you're doing this, so we're going to do that. And because they were able to pull them back and slowly just get more comfortable with that, they were able to take some really nice momentum plays. Boise State did ultimately take it back from them, but I thought it was really impressive how they were able to keep that momentum for so long at the beginning of the rounds.
Yeah, overall, if you're Syracuse, I feel like you obviously are upset you lost in such a close fashion, but they did not look bad. They really didn't. They were willing. They proved their mentality was good, coming back on bind, getting pretty close, and also that round they kept it pretty tit for tat most of the time. And I think they've got to be feeling pretty good about themselves, even despite the loss.
Yeah, and we'll be able to get into that a little bit more with our analysis team able to talk about some of the highlights that they noticed from the match as well.
Oh my goodness, what a way to close out the opening match for Boise State Valorant. I mean, I think the thing that's on the tip of our tongues that we want to get to first was just this Yoru pick and that spectacular triple that was gotten off of the dimensional drift. I remember telling you, I turned to you and I said, that play right there, that's like something you'd see in the trailer, the official trailer, to get everyone hyped to try to play that, Agent.
Yeah, it was so exciting. The swagger from Boise State coming off of that streak on the defender side, that we were seeing a Yoru TP into their spawn, dimensional drift in their face. Skies was just absolutely ready to just tear through the team, and I think when you win like the mental battle of like everybody's just giving you so much respect because of just how well you've been playing and how aggressive, it really just helps you win the entire game.
And it is a very huge testament to the fact that Boise State was able to maintain their composure and keep their cool throughout that opening that Syracuse was able to. They won their bonus round. It was looking like, you know, they were really dominant. And that can be difficult on Sunset. You know, it's an attacker-favored map. If you don't have attack first, then, you know, you need to make sure that your teammates, your coaches, everyone around you is going to be there to keep your head cool and plan for the long game.
I think the reason why Boise State was losing those first few rounds, of defense is because Syracuse was able to just go up onto site and use all of their utility to execute, and then still have some for the post plant. So when Sky started using his gate crash to aggressively peek and bait out utility, it made it a lot more difficult for Syracuse to be able to keep control of the site during the post plant round.
I mean, we're talking so much about that one Yoru play toward the end, but there were so many other times where Sky specifically was such a threat on the op that he was just able to push. I remember him pushing a cross point into elbow and just, you know, as much of a no scope as you can get with the op, you know, just a split second in the scope. He was landing every single shot he needed to.
It was disgusting, frankly. He was holding like this pixel angle where you can. All I could see was the reticle, and he was able to just land the shot, land the next, land the third, and then the fourth even got hit. It was just an unfortunate wall bang.
Well, I think one of the main lessons that we need to take away from tonight is don't pick the stages Boise State's good at, because they pick Sunset and Bind for a reason, and there were times that it was a bit shaky, but ultimately they got the win. I also want to end on this note is what a great match to showcase how exciting the PEC is going to be going forward. Getting these big FBS institutions ready to face off each other. There have been, I mean, just in the first week, Boise State versus Syracuse. Syracuse has been no pushover. They made Boise State earn their victory in Rocket League. They took a round off Boise State in Overwatch 3-1. And now these two games were so close score-wise, you didn't know until the very final rally whether Boise State would actually win them. If all of the weeks going forward are as exciting as the matches we have seen versus Syracuse here this week, then we're going to be having a lot of fun to look forward to. Speaking of the schedule, this is what we got going on. Our opening week, we've got Syracuse in PEC and Washington State we're going up against in the Mountain West. You can see there each night we feature a different game. So we're done with Rocket League, Overwatch, and Valorant, and then we've got Smash Bros. And College Football 25. And I think that just underscores the general takeaway that you should have, that every single night is a night that you can come on down to the Boise State Esports Arena and cheer them on. It was so great having Bishop Kelly High School here to cheer us on, gave us some great highlights.
And I think looking at that schedule, the Smash Bros, that can be a really exciting game. There's a lot of moments where, just like in Valorant, you can reverse at any time. You can be down however many stocks and just flip it again.
Well, there's only one place where you can catch all that action, and that's on Boise State Esports Twitch page and YouTube page as we live stream basically every night for the rest of the fall semester. So thank you so much for joining us for a thrilling Valorant match. We hope you have a good night. Stay safe. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.